Sairam, our most humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba. On behalf of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization, Tamil Nadu West, I welcome all for this evening satsang. In fact, every day we have been having a wonderful satsang wherein eminent speakers have been sharing their personal experiences due to their physical proximity with Bhagwan. Owner's pride, neighbors envy, they say. So every episode is that makes us all very jealous of these wonderful blessed souls. In fact, daily by 6 p.m., all of us are either glued to our mobile or to the TV, watching the YouTube to listen to the beautiful experiences. So today, that way, we have with us Brother Mr. Gurumoorthy. Sairam, on behalf of Sathya Sai Seva Organization, Tamil Nadu West, I extend a warm welcome to you. Before that, I would like to say a few words about you to the public. Sairam, Professor Gurumoorthy is an alumni of Sri Sathya Sai Educational Institution and is presently based out of Thane in Maharashtra. Originally hailing from Chennai, he is immensely blessed with Swami's benevolence from his birth by virtue of the fact that Swami came into his parents' life well before his birth. He joined Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vihar in Ooty way back in 1979 and then went on to complete his education at the Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School, Prasanthi Nilayam, and the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning at Brindavan and Prasanthi Nilayam campuses over the next 13 years. On completing his MBA from Swami's institution in 1993, he took up employment in the financial sector at Chennai, initially for a decade, and subsequently he has been working in Mumbai. He is a member of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization, Thane Samiti, and is involved in the Bala Vikas movement by teaching Vedam to the Bala Vikas children. Once again, we welcome you, Sai Brother Gurumoorthy sir. Now you can take over the proceedings. Sairam.
Sairam. Sahana bhavato sahana bhunakto saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam to everyone. I'd like to start by offering my most humble salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagwan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Let me start with trying to share the meaning of what was chanted a moment ago. What did we pray to the Lord? We prayed to the Lord that may we be protected, may He nourish us, and may we grow together in the path of right understanding. May we be illumined by the learning that we get, and let our hearts not have any conflict. It is hoped that through this process of satsang, we will learn together. We will be able to share our feelings together. We will be able to grow mentally together, and we all will be on the path to our divine Lord. It is my great privilege to be amongst all of you, to be able to participate and be invited to say a few words in this satsang. I have seen some of the eminent people who have addressed this audience in the past, and I hope that whatever little narration that I am able to put together and share with you, it will be something that will bring some joy to your lives, and we collectively will go closer to Bhagwan, which I believe is the common objective amongst all of us. So, as it was mentioned in the introduction, I hail from Chennai. I am a Tamilian, and I remember sir asking me if I could speak in Tamil. So I said, sir, my spoken Tamil is okay, but I'm not very confident of speaking on a platform like this in Tamil. So at the outset, let me seek your pardon uh, in not being able to address this audience in Tamil, which would have been the apt thing to do. And I'll continue my address in English, as that will help me to keep up the flow of my narration. To start with, if today I am able to be here, I'm able to exist, I'm able to be able to share these experiences with all of you, I think the greatest gratitude that I have to place is to my parents. And as was mentioned in the introduction again, Bhagwan came into our lives much before I was born. So I was extremely fortunate to be shown God from the time I was born. That, to my mind, is a huge, very huge privilege that I had. It is a huge head start that any soul can expect on the planet when they are shown the path of God, even as they're born. There is no conflict. From beginning, you're told, this is your God. Follow this God. Absorb Him within you. Go towards that Lord. Everything is, the path is already constructed. Imagine you're on a road which is already constructed. When you step out of your home, you have a nice tarred road which is going to your destination. How easy it becomes for you to drive down that road or walk down that road. Very similar circumstances are mine, where I was privileged to be there, to be able to know who was Swami, at least know that the power that Bhagwan was. Right? And this is therefore apt for me to share with you how Swami came into our lives, or rather to start with how Swami came into my parents' lives, and how therefore I was blessed to be also in Bhagwan's midst. This dates back to more than half a century ago. It is before, it's sometime in 1965, thereabouts. My parents were in Calcutta at that time. My father had a transferable job. He was generally posted across the country. And at that point in time, he was in Calcutta. And my parents were at that point in time very active members in the Chenmaya mission. Right? So, by virtue of the fact that they were members in the Chenmaya mission movement, then they got many opportunities to interact with Swami Chinmayananda, who was the head of that institution at that point in time. And it so happened that, in many interactions, there were certain fellow members of that organization whom my parents were interacting with then. One such gentleman gave, who used to be very fairly familiar with my parents, were, happy to exchange books about different subjects with my parents, mostly spiritual topics. There were books that were published. My father would give some books to him. He would give some books to us. And in that way, we would sort of exchange information. Once that gentleman came and gave my mother a book on Swami. Now, incidentally, in terms of, language, my parents were both brought up in Kerala, and so their Malayalam was pretty fluent, both reading, writing, and spoken, as well as they were in Tamil. So this book was in Malayalam, and it was on Sathya Sai Baba. Right. So my mother took the book. She looked at the book. Apparently, there was the picture of Swami on top, and Swami with all his nice bushy hair, looking at her. And then she said, "Who is this Sai Baba?" Right. She thought to herself, "This must be one more fraud." Right. Anyway, there are so many Babas in the country. This must be one more fraud. But okay, since I've got the book from a very close friend, out of respect, I should at least read it and understand who this is. So she read it. And she read it and she was impressed by what was inside. Right? It was essentially talking about a few miracles of Swami at that point in time. And it was talking about how Swami was able to heal people who were terminally sick, was able to, his materializations and his various miracles in different people's house, where he would travel across time. So all those miracles, like everybody at that point in time, if you remember, Swami himself has said, miracles are my calling cards. So Swami used to call people with his miracles. And probably that exactly was what was happening here. Now, after reading this book, there was an interest in my mother's mind to go to Puttaparthi. But she anyway nevertheless gave the book to my father also. My father also read the same book. He was also impressed. He also said, there's something about this person, right? But there was a selfish reason why they wanted to actually come there. And that selfish reason was a very genuine reason. That reason was related to my sister. My sister was had a congenital problem. She had a problem from birth, and it was a health issue. It used to trouble her off and on. And my parents, as would the father and mother of any child, were very worried about this. And they said, "Ki idu oru Swami yaar irukare, moppe paatittu varalam adikena." So they decided that they would go to Puttaparthi. Now, this was by the time they took this, they expressed this intent to travel to Puttaparthi. They had to locate how to go to Puttaparthi and everything else. They figured out that how to go from Calcutta, how to travel. And in those days, in the 60s, you didn't have all direct trains to Puttaparthi, or you didn't have thing. You had to hop, multiple times, go to perhaps to Chennai. Then from Chennai, you had to perhaps go to Bangalore or Hyderabad, and then from Hyderabad, you had to go towards Puttaparthi and all that stuff. So there was a lot of travel involved. Now, what happened was that this was roughly around September of that year, 65. And then something happened at that point in time. There was some political disturbance in the country. due to which there was some instability, and they decided not to go, right? Because they were not sure if travel would be appropriate, and that also they had to travel with my sister and also my brother. So we are three siblings: my sister, my brother, and myself. Now, so they sort of deferred the plan. They said, "Leave it. We'll go some other time." And they forgot about it. Couple of months elapsed. Nothing happened. Then again, the thought came in roughly November. The thought came that the children are having vacations for school in December. Why don't we try making a visit again? We wanted to go to Puttaparthi. We'll try again. So this time they planned. This time they went. They figured out how to get the tickets, where to go, and they booked the tickets, and they started off on the journey. Now they started, and in those days, you could not come directly to Puttaparthi. That was saying you had to come by train to Penikunda, and then from Penikunda you would have to take a bus to come to this village of Bukkapatnam, which is about 12 to 15 kilometers from Parthi roughly today. And those days there were no concrete roads, proper roads. So, and from Bukkapatnam, you would need to then go via bullock cart or some other horse cart or some such transport to Puttaparthi. Right? That was the typical travel of a pilgrim to Puttaparthi. There was so they had to endure all this. Now what happened was they came and they somehow managed to come to by train. They came all the way via bus till Bukkapatnam. Right? Now, by the time they came to Bukkapatnam, it was evening-ish, roughly, right? Maybe past 4 or 5 or something like that. And because this was December, there was the chance of the sunset was earlier, and so it was started to getting dark earlier, right? And so what happened was they were worried. Now they didn't know how to go to Puttaparthi from there. There was only one person having a cart, basically a cart with a bull, 2 bulls, and he was. So here are my parents. They don't know a word of Telugu. The only language that other person knows, can communicate, is Telugu. You don't know how to tell him that they want to go to Puttaparthi. So with some help of somebody there and some sign language, they managed to convey the fact that they want to go to Puttaparthi. So fine. So somehow they managed to agree. They negotiated a rate and they sat on the pulla cart. Now, so here is my parents, my brother and my sister on a pulla cart, and the pulla cart started going, into the field, right? Because that was the path to go to Puttaparthi then. So you went into the field and you started walking down, and the cart started rolling into Puttaparthi. Somewhere about midway, not even midway perhaps, there was a problem with the wheel of the cart. And the driver, he just stopped the cart. He indicated in sign language that he can't go. So my parents were perplexed. Why is he not talking? Why is the cart, driver not talking? Why is he indicating in sign language? First they thought it is because language problem. Then they realized that the cart driver was dumb. He couldn't speak. So just imagine their horror when they are somewhere in the middle of some field in some godforsaken place at that point in time. They don't know how to go forward. They don't know how to go back to Bukkapatnam. If they have to go back, they have to trace back the path through the fields. It is already becoming dark, right? How do you go forward? So what do you do the next thing? The same thing what Gajendra Moksha would have done in his time. Pray to Bhagwan. Pray. They didn't know Swami at that time. So they just prayed to their Ishta Devata. Okay, they just prayed. They said, God, please help us. They might have probably prayed, or they didn't realize how long they prayed. On the opposite side, from the direction of Puttaparthi, there is one man who's walking down. He is wearing a dhoti, a veshti, proper South Indian veshti wearing, and he's holding the veshti at the edge, exactly like how a Keralite holds today, right? Exactly. Lift the veshti a little at the edge and walking very briskly towards Bukkapatnam. He comes to this cart and says, "What happened?" So, they said, and the beauty is that he asks them and he looks at them and asks them, "Do you know Malayalam?" And then he speaks to them in Malayalam and he says, "Where are you going?" So if they said, "We're going to Puttaparthi, we don't know, we got stuck here, some problem with the cart, and this cart driver can't speak." So then what happened was, when he said, "How do we go to Puttaparthi?" He says, "Don't worry, I'll take you there." Right? They said, but my father told, no, you're going to Bukkapatnam. Why do you want trouble and go back?" He said, no. What is there? I can go to Bukkapatnam tomorrow also. I'll come with me. I'll take you to Bukkapatnam. So what happened? Then my parents, along with the help of this gentleman, removed the luggage from the cart, and that man took some 2 bags, and my father and my mother took some bags, and they started walking along with my brother and sister. And this man took them through the fields and brought them to what is today the Ganesha gate, right? And brought them inside, and he got them. And in those days, there was only East Prasanthi. There was nothing else. And there was obviously the mandir, right? But it was the Pata Mandir, right? And he came inside, and for accommodation, there were some sheds, like tin sheds were there. People could, go and rent and stay for a night or a couple of nights. But it was very sparse accommodation, nothing great, right? He came inside, he told them, see, he explained to them, this is the accommodation, and you have to go to the canteen. He showed them the canteen where you can go and eat some food, and here you have to come for darshan, right? So he told them, fine, and he said, you go and inquire inside. You go and inquire inside, he said. So they went inside, inquired, and they managed to get some accommodation and all that, and they wanted to come out and thank this gentleman, saying that, thank you for all your help. Without you, we could not have come. It was already dark in Puttaparthi. He came out, there is no sign of the gentleman. Now, please remember that Puttaparthi those days was not crowded or not saying, it was basically empty. So, if somebody, there were very, very few people around, right? So you can't miss somebody because they're not there. They came out, this man is missing. They can't see him, they don't know where. So they said, whom do we thank for? Right? So they just thought that, okay, must be some good Samaritan who has come and helped. Right? Now, time passed. They inquired about darshan, and they were told that, look, Swami is not here in Puttaparthi. Okay, he is not. He's gone somewhere. He's gone out of Puttaparthi. So you have to either wait for him to come back from Puttaparthi, back to Puttaparthi, or come on another time. So they were very disappointed. They said, they again prayed to their God and said, what ill fortune we have. We couldn't even see the person whom we wanted to see. We couldn't have darshan of Swami. And then with disappointment, they decided that, fine. They had a plan to go back to Chennai from there. And so they decided that, okay, instead of prolonging our stay in Puttaparthi, we will go to Chennai. So in those days, again, they had to find a transport. They found a transport to go to Dharmavaram, bought a ticket, somehow managed to reach Chennai. Now, in Chennai also, there was, Chennai, they had some work, personal family work and all that, because it was holidays. They were staying in Chennai with certain relatives. Now, it so happened that they got to know that Swami Chinmayananda was visiting Chennai also at that point in time, and he was conducting that. There was the Gita Jnana Yajna going on in Chennai, and since my parents were so active members in Chinmaya Mission, they went to attend that yajna for a period of 7 days. And when there, in one of the, and see, this is how Swami plays. It has to there is a very famous quotation that I have read. It's from the the script of from a book called Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and there he says that if something has to happen, everything in the universe will conspire to make it happen, right? And this is what was exactly happening here. Everything in the universe was conspiring to make something happen. And what was that something? In one of the days of the yajna, I think so. There was a saying. There were my parents were preparing some script for some event that was in the Chinmaya mission, and they wanted to take an approval of Swami Chinmayananda to just to show him the script and just get his consent and approval. So they one evening after the yajna session that happened, they were waiting, and they said they went approached him and said, Swamiji, here is the script. Please bless it, and so that we can start work on it. So Swamiji said, "Oh, not now, not now. You come and show it to me where I'm staying. You come and show it to me where I'm staying now, right? Not now," he said. So, so they decided, okay, whatever is wish, we will do it. So they went the next morning to this place. And at that point in time, Swami Chinmayananda was staying at the residence of one person in College Road, Nangamagam. Now, interesting. So Swamiji, Swami Chinmayananda, in the morning, if my parents were there in the morning, and it so happened that he was having breakfast and everything else, and so they were waiting for him down to come so that they could discuss that script with him. Just as they were waiting for that, they saw that there was the house in which Swami Chinmayananda was staying. The residents of the house were bringing flowers. They were making garlands and all that. They were puzzled. They said, why are they making all these arrangements? Is there something going to happen here? Someone is going to come? So they decided that they will go and ask. So when they asked, the person said, "Are you don't know? Sathya Sai Baba is coming here." So they were shocked. So you see how when the universe wants something to happen, it will conspire to make it happen. Everything will fall into place, right? And that was such an eventful meeting for them. The first time they were able to see Sathya Sai Baba. You see, Swami has made a very, very profound statement. If you take one step towards me, I will take 100 steps towards you. This was a very classic example of that. My parents really had a wish to go and see Bhagwan. They came all the way to Puttaparthi, but could not see him. So Swami ensured that he will find his way to give darshan. And what a way he found out, right? And he eventually found out in a way where they could have his darshan. And it was a very fantastic moment because that was an interaction between Swami Chinmayananda and our beloved Lord. And it was that one meeting that brought them into Swami's fold, right? They were able to get into Swami's fold. They were able to appreciate what Swami had to say, what are the principles that Swami was saying, right? So that's very important, and which is probably leads me to my other point where you see Swami is omniscient. He knows. You don't have to tell him. You don't have to knock on his door and say, I am here. He knows you very well. He knows everything about you, right? So we have heard Swami declaring in many a discourse from time to time, where Swami says, I'm not able to quote the exact Telugu phrase, but he says, I am in you, I am around you, I am above you, I am below you, right? These are all declarations that confirm that Swami, our dear Lord Bhagwan, is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. He knows everything. There is nothing that we need to tell him. In fact, he will tell us what we need to do. We don't have to tell. We don't even have to ask. So at this point in time, I like to chant a small extract or a portion from the Narayana Upanishad, which is one of my personal favorites, and it reflects the theme of today's satsang in a very simple and nice way. अथ नित्यो नारायणः ब्रह्मा नारायणः शिवश्च नारायणः शक्रश्च नारायणः यावा पृथिव्यौ च नारायणः कालश्च नारायणः दिशश्च नारायणः ऊर्ध्वश्च नारायणः अधश्च नारायणः अन्तर्बहिश्च नारायणः नारायण एवेदगुं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम् निष्कलो निरञ्जनो निर्विकल्पो निराख्यात शुद्धो देव एको नारायणः तद्वितीयोऽस्ति कश्चित् य एवं वेद स विष्णुरेव भवति स विष्णुरेव भवति. Atha Nityo Narayanah. He is the eternal principle. Swami is eternal. Narayana is Brahma, Shiva, Indra, creator, destroyer, and the ruler of our senses or the mind. He is power behind the mind. Kalascha Narayana, time, master of time. Disascha Narayana, all directions. Dhyava Prativyo, he is the inner principle behind the earth and the heavens. He is there in the higher and lower worlds. He is there within us, Antar Bahischa. He is there within us, he is there without us, in the outside. Everything that is there in the universe is a manifestation of God. He is there in our past, he is there in our future. And he is blemishless, Nishkalu. He is free from passions, Niranjanu. He is beyond the senses and the mind. He has knowledge, Nirvikalpo, which is not based on senses or what we gather from the outside. His knowledge is beyond that. He's all pervasive, Nirakhyata. He's there everywhere, everything, living, non-living, he's there. He's pure, Shuddho. And there is only one God, which is Narayana, which is our Sai Narayana. There is no second. Nadvitiyo, there is no second. And this is the truth of the Vedas. Now, so beautiful this is that this truth told to us in Vedas so many centuries ago is what Swami has been telling us again and again in these years that he walked on earth. And he said that I am in you, around you, above you, below you, everywhere. How similar these two principles are. And yet we struggle to understand what Bhagwan is. Yet we struggle to understand how to progress towards him. And so this sort of makes us realize that Swami knows so much about each of us. And why do you think he knows so much about each of us? It's not because, it's not because he associates himself with a name. He doesn't associate with the Gurumurthy. That's this body, right? But he knows my soul because he's seen the journey of the soul before it came into this body. He knows the journey of the soul after it will leave this body, right? And so he's a divine witness. He hears, he sees, he witnesses everything, right? We believe it or we don't, but he's around us, right? And I'll just try to narrate to you a couple of very small incidents that happened during my during my education in Prasanthi Nilayam and Vrindavan. This was an incident that happened during my schooling days, and this was when Swami. This was in Vrindavan, right? And we had come for our vacations, our summer vacations, and at that point in time, my parents were residing in Bangalore. This was much later. It was in the 80s, and we were residing in Bangalore. And at that point in time, we came for Swami was in Vrindavan, so summer, and we had gone for darshan. So there were not many students there. There were a few students and some guests who had come to see. Were also waiting for Swami to come out in the morning. So as we were students, we were allowed to sit on the driveway into Trai Vrindavan. We were allowed to sit on the driveway waiting for Bhagwan to come. And then, I had my own classmate who was with me at that point in time. It was a school classmate. And he was with me, and we were actually, sort of gossiping between us. Right? We're just generally exchanging very slowly in hushed tones. We were exchanging, some gossip. We didn't think it was something very important, right? After some time, the door opened. Swami came out. Swami glided down the thing and started walking. He came. So I was sitting in the second row, right? And Swami came in front of where I was sitting. Right? He looked at both of us. A very stern look he gave. He said, "Why were you talking?" Sikuleda, he said, you don't have brains? Why are you talking? And is this what you should do as students? And we were like trembling. We were wondering, how did Swami know that? We were like talking in such hushed tones. We would not even be heard by the next person sitting adjacent to us. So this was a very classic example. Swami was not near us, but Swami was near us. We never realized it at that point in time. But today, when you reflect on those incidents, you realize that how important it is to pay respect to the fact that Bhagwan is around us, even though we may not see his presence or feel his presence. There was another incident which was probably more pleasant, so not as thing as the previous one. This happened many years later. This was when I was studying my MBA in Prasanthi Nilayam. I got the opportunity to be part of the drama in part of the convocation. As you may be aware, every year the students of the institute, Swami's Institute in Puttaparthi, will put a drama, and this drama came. I got a part. So one such interview, Swami gave us an interview. Swami called us basically to discuss the drama detail, and we came there. And this was a morning. And Swami called us. So we were about 10 of us. Swami called us inside his interview room, and he was sitting. And when we entered the interview room, there's a fan on top of the interview room, and that fan was not on; it was off. And it was slightly warm day, and we all got inside. I was sitting at the back. I was not sitting in the front. I was sitting at the back, away from Swami's throne. Swami came and sat down. Swami was again. Now my mind was not on Swami. Right? My mind was, why is the fan not on? The fan is not on. Swami will be feeling hot. Okay, why is the fan not on? Swami will be feeling hot. why is the fan not on? Swami will be feeling hot. I imagine I am sitting in front of the Lord of the universe and I'm more worried about why the fan is not on. And Swami was talking to us. Suddenly, he looked at me and said, "Hey, fan lagao," he said. I got such a shock. I didn't realize that Swami was addressing me for a second. Then I realized that Swami is telling me to put on the fan. I jumped like a tiger, and I put on the fan immediately before the change in mind. I said, finally, the fan is on. And that Swami looked at me, in a very mischievous way. I know what you're thinking, he said. Right? So you see, imagine, he's there in the thought. I have completely forgotten his physical presence sitting right in front of him, but he doesn't forget us. He says he brings us back to reality. He brings us back towards him. And some of my best experiences again with Bhagwan are in Vrindavan, because there used to be a statement that used to be made in those days when we were studying. They used to say that Prasanthi Nilayam is Bhagwan's office and Vrindavan is his playground, right? And it's not just me. You can ask any student who has had the privilege of studying in Vrindavan in those days. They will swear by the fact that it is truly a playground for Swami. Swami would be relaxed at his best, and he would be sing. Now, why I'm bringing up this aspect of Trai, and if you see the photo that I've shared with all of you, that is also in front of Trai only. There are a couple of incidents that I remember when it comes to Trai. Again, shows his knowledge about the past, present, and future, right? Swami as this was in my father retired from professional service in 1984, and that time we were in Delhi when my father retired. So we decided that we'll move over to Bangalore to basically take up residence in Bangalore. And my father, few years before the retirement, had invested in a property in Whitefield, close to Swami's ashram. In fact, not exactly Whitefield, but on the other side, beyond Swami's ashram, closer to the canteen and the college building. And my parents had managed to get a house constructed there, and that house was ready. And we decided that we will shift when my father gets retired. We'll shift to that house. So this was that year when we shifted. Right? So this was before we shifted, because my father had given so much of service to the company from which he retired. The company, as an act of graciousness, they said that till your house is fully ready, you can stay in a company accommodation in Bangalore city till then. Right? So we were staying there, and it so happened that Swami was in Vrindavan at that point in time. So we used to go for darshan. Now, so one such darshan, and then so we had seen darshan, and then Swami went to Kodaikanal. This was the typical April, May time frame. Then Swami went to Kodaikanal and came back. After a few days, after a week, 10 days, Swami came back to Bangalore, right? To Vrindavan. Now, what happened was that time, so Swami was coming. Obviously, everybody would gather together to welcome Swami back to Vrindavan. And so what happened was we also stood there, and we were in Trai Vrindavan. So we were waiting for Swami's car to come into the driveway of Trai. Now, there was a clear protocol in those days amongst the students that there would be one person, and Swami arrives, there would be one person designated to give a rose, Bhagwan. Another person would offer, basically a matchbox where Swami would light the arati, and arati would be waved to Bhagwan before he went inside his residence. So that was the thing, and I was not clearly any of the two boys identified for that job. Now, what happened was, so we were generally waiting for Swami, and some of us were waiting in that steps leading into Trai Vrindavan, the same steps which you see in that photo. And waiting near the steps. And then what happened was, there was a sudden flutter. I said, "Oh, Swami is coming, Swami is coming, Swami is coming." Right? And in that chaos that happened, basically jostling, everybody's trying to get into their strategic positions to get the best darshan from Bhagwan. I got stuck near the stairs. Now the problem was this: I was not having a flower in hand, I was not having the matchbox, nor was I going to show the arati. So I was neither of these. I was just standing there. I was frozen. By the time I could do anything, Swami's car had already got into the driveway. And the protocol in amongst boys is that, once Swami comes in, you cannot make any movements. And the warden was also there at that point in time. He's wondering, what is Gurumoorthy doing there on the stairs? What is this boy doing there on the stairs? He's not supposed to be there. Swami will get offended. Swami will wonder why this fellow is there, extra fellow is there. So I forget what the warden was feeling at that point in time. I was trembling because I knew that this is the end. Now Swami will come, he'll ask me, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And he will give me a firing, for being indisciplined. Right? So I said, "Okay, Swami, whatever it is, your wish." And I stood there. Swami came out of the car. Swami was greeted by people and all that stuff. And he came and he came to, and he slowly, and behind Swami there was a senior devotee who had traveled with Swami in the car, and he was following behind. And Swami came close to me. He gave me a look from top to bottom, so as if seeing somebody, as if he's seeing me for the first time. Right? He looked up. He said, he asked me what's my name. I told him my name. Then he said, then he said, looked at me. Then he gestured to the senior devotee. And then he said, he's the son of that person I told you. So I'm wondering, who is this person Swami has told. Now I have no idea of this, but what's happening? Swami is saying. So then Swami is telling me that, Acha, where are you staying, Swami? Where are you coming from, Swami? I said, "Swami, we are in Bangalore only. But where is the house?" He asked. I said, "Swami, father has taken a house in near the college. We are going to shift to that house, a new house. Please bless the house." Right? Because I took this opportunity daringly, I asked Swami that it was a new house. Please bless the house. And so Swami looked at it. Where? Swami asked, house. So I told Swami, the exact place where we had taken the house was called Belathur. Right? So I told Swami, Belathur. And Swami said, "Belathur? Romba kollai," he said in Tamil. Very clearly I remember. Swami said, "Romba kollai." And then he patted my hand and he went inside. He took the rose from the next boy. He took Arati and went inside. I was frightened. As it is, I was frightened even before that. Now I was even more frightened. What is happening? What is Swami referring to? What is this kollai? I was completely, I was not frightened, trembling. I ran out of, once Swami had retired, ran out of Trai Vrindavan, somehow found my father and then my mother, and I narrated to them what happened inside. My parents also got worried. Why Swami said Romba kollai? Right? But now it is too late. We have already decided to come here. Our luggage and all has come from Delhi. It has come to Bangalore. So we decided, okay, whatever it is, Swami is wish, blessings, we'll go inside. Okay, here. And we shifted. That year passed. Nothing happened. Everything was okay. We had settled down into the new place. The next year came. Okay, and the next year, what happened was we had to go out on some on work. We had to go out to out of our house, out of Bangalore, and we went for a few days out as a family. We had to go. But he came back. He came back as usual. We saw the house there. We went and opened the front lock opened. Then we tried to open the second door, which was the regular key. They're opening, it's not opening. They're going on pushing, it's not opening. We got scared. So we decided that we will go and check. So we went to the back rear of the house, and we saw that one of the windows was ajar like this. So we took took help, which is opened the door. We saw that all there 3-4 bars in the window were broken, and inside the house was all a mess. That moment we realized that robbers, there had been a robbery that had been committed in our house in our absence. Now you see, Swami's prediction has come true, right? He is there in the present, he is there in the future, right? But because the fact that he is there in both places, he is there with us to protect us and to take us through that, right? And it was a difficult time for us at that point in time. So but we said no. Swami had told us about this. Swami had warned us, but we did not understand at that point in time. I know that there is limited time, and I will try to see if I can share one more experience which is very relevant to which is again connected to Trai, which shows again Swami's omniscience and omnipresence and omnipotence. Right? This happened again, in much later, towards the end of my studies in Prasanthi Nilayam. This happened in the year 1992, and Swami and I was studying in my MBA at that point in time, and we had summer projects that we used to do, for which we used to come to Bangalore, right? So we used to go to various companies in Bangalore to do our summer internship kind of stuff for a month in that place. And during those times, Swami used to give us a lot of opportunities to be with him, to be in his presence, to talk to all of us and all that stuff. So this was one such Trai session, right? You would have heard of so many Trai sessions. This was one such Trai session, and like it was normally, the boys would gather around Bhagwan and wait. So I was there also in the hall which Swami was going to come. And what happened was that I was sitting near the door which was approaching from where Swami would approach into the jhula where he would sit, right? And as Swami was approaching me, Swami came close to me, and Swami is walking, and I'm just here. It's actually a door, and it's me sitting on the door. There's another boy sitting on the side of the door. So it's just a narrow way for Swami to just pass through. So Swami almost was touching me and walking, and suddenly he paused, looked at me, and then he did something very strange. He took my shirt and he pushed it down like this, right? He pushed down my shirt like this, and he looked. There was some rashes on my skin there at that point in time, and he said, "What is this?" Right? I had not bothered like every other student in those days. I'm not bothered, but there's some skin rash. It'll go away in a few days. So I just looked at it, and then he just pressed it and he went away. I didn't bother about it. I thought, "Chalo, Swami is saying." Okay. Next day morning, right? This was in the evening, Trai session. Next day morning, we were waiting for darshan here, and then Swami had called some devotees for interview from the Sairam shed. Those days it was Sairam shed, it was not Sairam Hall. And Swami came inside, and Swami had gone into the interview room. Devotees had gone inside. Swami had asked them to go inside. Swami was standing on that. There is a pathway to go into the interview room. Swami was standing in the pathway as the devotees filed inside. After they had filed inside, suddenly he looked at the students. We were all seated on the driveway, and he looked at us and he said, "Rash, rash," he said. He said, "Rash, rash." So, all the boys are wondering, whom is he trying to call, right? But you see, when something is intended for you, for that person, you will come to know in that instant, right? And in that very instant, it just struck me like a thunderbolt that Swami was asking for me. Swami was asking for asking me by the rash which he had pointed out the previous time. And I just got up, from the amongst the boys. I just got up, on my knees, just with folded hands. And Swami said, he did like this, right? So you can imagine my shock. I had got an interview for years. I have never got an interview. So it was like a shock of my life. I was not sure if Swami was telling me or somebody else behind me or adjacent to me. Swami said, he said. Then this time I was sure. The second time when he said, I said, no, this is me only. And I jumped and I ran, to interview room. I went past Bhagwan with folded hands and my heart beating at probably 100, beats a minute. I ran inside the interview room. The interview started. Swami was saying, and in the process of that, so Swami then called each family, each of the devotee groups individually into the inner interview room, and then I was waiting for my turn. Swami finished everybody else. I was wondering, will he call me or not? Maybe I thought maybe he won't call me. He just got me inside. Then after he finished everything, then he said, in his one monosyllable, he said, Then I went inside. I kneeled before Bhagwan. I can tell you, I can't describe it in words. If you just imagine in your mind, you are standing before the Lord of the universe, right? Just visualize it in your mind. How would it be? Even today, it gives me goosebumps. Standing right in front of Swami with folded hands, I'm trembling in my heart. I don't know what to say, what to ask. So Swami didn't say. So Swami made a very profound statement of one of the first things he told me when I entered. He said, I know you have been thinking for a lot of time that why Swami is not calling me. Right? Swami is telling me that I have been thinking for so long, why Swami is not calling me, why Swami is giving rings and chains and other materializations to people, but nothing for me, right? And Swami is ignoring me, right? And believe you me, that was exactly what I was thinking. Of course, it was over many years. Imagine it was in my final year of studies in Swami's education institution. So many years before that, I've been witness to so many students getting so many opportunities with Bhagwan. I used to wonder, will I ever get such an opportunity? Will I get this? Will I get that? I had all those desires, right? And then I realized that maybe it will not happen. Maybe I don't deserve it. And here is Swami telling me exactly that. Swami is telling me, you were thinking for so long for this. And Swami said one very important statement. He said, there is a time for everything, he said. There is a time for everything. And with Swami, that is absolutely true. Swami will act when the act is supposed to happen, not when we desire, right? Swami will act when the act is supposed to happen. And so it was exactly that way. And then he made one more statement, which to this day makes my hair stand. He said, I know everything. Sai Baba is God, Ra, he said. These are his words. I know everything. Sai Baba is God, Ra, he said. I'm even now getting choked with emotion because that one statement was like a thunderbolt. And I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control myself. I started crying. It was like as if years and years and years of some frustration, anger, and everything was coming out in the form of tears and getting offered to Swami. I said, Swami, nothing. I felt so relieved after I cried in front of Swami. It was like a child crying in front of the mother, right? The mother who is omnipresent, who is omniscient, who is omnipotent. The mother who knows everything about us. Why? Because he is not talking to the body, he's talking to the soul. He knows what the soul needs when, at what point in time, and he will fulfill that, right? So that's the beauty of it. I understand that we are running short of time, so there is this kind of experiences can go on forever. And I would just before I end, I would like to sort of you know share one small quotation or a kind of a statement that Swami has made, which was shared by one of our Sai brothers here in Thane. And I'll read from my phone for thing, and then I will end the thing. I give you this assurance today that stands true until the very end. I am always there, whether you know it or not. I shall always do the needful in a timely manner, whether you believe it or not. I shall always protect you in time of despair, whether you can see it or not. I shall always carry you in times of weakness, whether you let me be or not. And I shall make you mine in times you wish to leave me, whether you like it or not. Be aware of these words, and they shall take you across the highs and lows of your life in bliss and in absolute confidence. This one message is enough for all of us to prove that our Bhagwan is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. Thank you, and Sairam to everyone.
Sairam, maybe you have some more time, 5 more minutes, if you want to share some other thing. 5 more minutes. Still, you have time.
Okay, sir. So yeah, I think
One more
it is.
instance.
Yeah, thank you. So I will, and this was. I like to probably share one more small incident, which which keeps reminding me of the fact that Swami is you know is like an eternal witness, right? He knows what is happening in our lives. He knows where what is important for us, and he should there should not be any doubt in our minds that Swami is not around us at any point in time. Physically, he may be not present today, but that is not important in my view. Please, in my view, is that Swami is there in our hearts. He sees us. He knows every single thing, even before you know it. He knows it. So let's be with that confidence. And this one small, incident which is again related to that interview, which I want to sort of say here in the available time, was that the reason why he pulled my shirt to actually see the rashes on that was a big story that was developing in the future. Right, I was in my during my studies in Vrindavan during my graduate years in Vrindavan. I was very very typical of the late teenagers and all that in those days. Very very conscious about health, right? Very conscious about health. I used to, there was a gymnasium facility available in the campus, and I used to frequent that gymnasium facility, and I used to sort of, uh, you know, pull weights and do all those, exercises and all that. But many times I should do that without the presence of a trainer because I thought I know everything. I know how to do this. What is there? It's easy, right? And we should do this. And obviously, there would be other classmates on that who, sort of tell you, encourage you, hey, come on, you should do this. So that way I did. Now, that period went past. I didn't realize. But what had happened as a result of that was that because of incorrect procedures and things, unknown to me, there was a problem that had developed in my spine, right? Unknown to me, right? Now you uh, see how again everything in the universe conspires to make it happen, right? Swami looks at me so many years hence, 3 or 4 years after that, looks at me and says, Rash, I can't still correct. No, there's no connection between the rashes here and that problem. Where is the chest here and where is the spine at the back, right? Uh, no, see. But there was another problem. Okay, which was even more peculiar. When Swami was in that interview, and I got that interview in Trai Vrindavan, Swami materialized a kalkand and gave me, right? At the interview. Swami materialized a kalkand. Kalkand is sweet. Swami said, eat. So I was typically, how we do, no? Swami will give prasadam, so we'll keep the prasadam in our hand and we'll decide who we'll go outside and eat. Right? Why should we eat it? Swami said, no, eat. Swami said sternly, now, in front of him. So it was a big piece of kalkand. I just popped it into my mouth and started slowly biting it and sucking the kalkand. Swami said, suck it. Right? He said, gently suck it. I just sucked it. And it just elapsed. I didn't bother. Now, interview got over, came back to the hostel. And what happened was, after few, maybe about half an hour after I got into the hostel, because morning must be about 10:30, 11, 10:30 approximately. I started feeling very drowsy, right? Very unusual. Nobody in our students sleeps in the morning, right? So I feel very drowsy. So I told in my hostel room with other fellow boys who were there and everything, I told them, okay, I want to sleep for some time. It was a Sunday. They said, we are all going out, going to play. So I said, no, you all go for playing. I'm going to rest. And I would have just laid down on the bed. And within 5 minutes or less than that, I was out. I must have been dead to the world, perhaps at that point in time. I don't know what happened to me. And I got up probably about a couple of hours later, around lunchtime. Fresh, lively, happy, thrilled. I don't know what happened. To this day, I don't know what happened. But I believe that kalkand that Swami sent into my body did something to my body, which changed, which in my own limited belief, it is something that Swami gave me a new life, right? And why do I say Swami gave me a new life? Is that much later, when we returned back to Prasanthi Nilayam in July, Swami told me, indicated that I had a problem with my heart. Now just can you imagine? So heart is associated with beating, and if heart stops, we are over. Now, so many years later, I was trying to piece together that story again. And maybe I thought that, did Swami do something to me at that point in time that prevented the heart from beating? Did he give the heart a second life? The physical heart, I mean. He gave a second life so that it could beat. And maybe because that heart has been beating since then, I'm able to share these small incidents with you today. So I think with this, I'll just close due to the time constraint. But it has been a great privilege to be with all of you and to be able to share a few of my experiences with you. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you so much, sir. Just like the extra time goal, you have the latest episode was the best one because he has saved you from this heart problem. He said, very nice, sir. You have been that was a topic: omniscience, omnipresent, and omnipotent. You had vividly explained various episodes and the assurance which you lastly told. Whether we know it or not, whether you believe it or not, Swami is there with us. Very nice, sir. Before I sum up, I have a couple of questions from our devotees, sir. I'll just, please. Now, how to develop love for Swami as I don't have physical proximity and unfortunately attached with impure thoughts? Kindly answer.
So, let me ask a different question. Who is not affected by impure thoughts, right? I think we are all living in this world, right? We are all influenced by our environment, whatever influences that happen to us through our environment. And we are definitely going to get affected by negative thoughts, by impure thoughts. There is one example. I remember Swami has given in one of his discourses. Also, he said, uh, "How do you clean your mind? Right? Your mind can get impure thoughts. It can get dirty thoughts. It can get foul thoughts. Right? How do you clean that? Right? So first step is you have to first clean the mind. Right? So how do you clean it? One way to do that is to keep saying, no, 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 I won't get negative thoughts. I won't get negative thoughts. But will that get sorted? No. Thoughts will still come. Okay. The other way to do that, which is a more constructive way to do it, is to fill it with counter thoughts. So positive. Do namasmarana, do japa, do some sadhanas, whichever sadhana which is close to you. It doesn't have to be. I may find comfort in meditation. Somebody may find comfort in bhajans. Somebody may find comfort in namavadis. Somebody may find comfort in chanting Vedam. Somebody might find comfort in chanting mantrams. No problem. Fill it with counter thoughts, right? Because once you start filling the same, so if you have a container, I have a container which has got dirty water. It's a container that's got dirty water. Now, if I start putting clean water into it continuously, right? At some point in time, the water will keep overflowing. After some time, the water will keep overflowing. All the dirt in that would have come out. And what will remain inside is your clean thoughts, right? So, for which you don't need the physical presence of Bhagwan. Because if Swami is within us, he is around us, okay? He's antar bhaischa. He's there inside, he's outside. So why do we need to feel that he's not physically around? Just go with that thought, fill it with counter thoughts, positive thoughts, automatically everything will get solved.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Sir, one more. Sairam, I am brooding over the past, which I don't want to do it, but to think about Swami alone. How to do this? The past keeps on brooding over.
Yes, it can happen. Sometimes you might have a difficult past. Sometimes you may have to endure certain challenges in the past, which I think I'm not to be very honestly, I am not an expert in all this, but all of us have endured some challenges in our life, right? I think again, the simple way is the answer is very similar to the previous question, right? Try to think about Bhagwan in pleasant circumstances, right? Try to think about here is a good example. We are doing the satsang. And like this satsang, there are many satsangs that all of you have attended, right? So many experiences that you would have heard from Bhagwan, from Bhagwan's students, from Bhagwan's devotees, so many people, right? Try to recall those experiences. Try to remember some of them. Maybe you might like a couple of experiences that are very dear to your heart. Keep replaying that incident again and again. When you replay that incident, slowly that past will settle down, right? The past will disappear. You can't change the past, but at least you can change the present, right? That is in our ability. God has gifted us the ability to be in the present and be able to think about God. If you keep doing that, I'm certain that over a period of time, that past, traits or past difficulties or challenges, the brooding will go away. You'll replace it with positive thoughts about Swami, about anything. And again, I keep telling people who I meet that it's not necessary. Some people may not still want to be attached to the form. It's all right. But attach it to your Ishta Devata, whoever that God is. Think of that. Think of something pleasant. The moment you think of something pleasant, everything foul will go away. That's the simple formula.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Sairam. But as you say, some monkey mind, it keeps on hopping from here and there. And as I rightly pointed out, and because Swami, as a past, we have already gone. Past is gone. Future is uncertain. Present. That's why it's called a present, a gift. Swami says. Thank you so much, sir. I will briefly sum up whatever you have been kind enough to share. You started with the prayer to the Lord You said protection. You started with the prayer where you sought protection. That is what is needed now, right now at this juncture, how to grow together in the divine path. So you started on a good note with the prayer to the Lord. Secondly, gratitude to parents. As you rightly said, we owe so much to our parents, and you are being very lucky. I would say you have been a praklada because you have been knowing about Swami even before your birth. So perhaps your road was already laid, so your road was very easy. I mean, it was not an untrodden path for you. Already your parents could lead the way. Very nice, and you had your gratitude to parents. So nice. Swami's visiting card. You are talking how your parents experience naturally at a God-forsaken place, at that place, and how Swami came in the form of a Malayali with a dhoti episode. And you feel naturally, you feel at home when someone is trying to help you. So that party visit was quite very nice. It was interesting. They were already into Swami Chinmaya's fold and see how Swami made them to meet at Chinmayaji's they were to meet in this particular satsang. That really that's very good, Sairam. He's omniscient and omnipresent. He knows mind and is an eternal principle. You're talking of Narayana Upanishad. He's Swami because now we all know now that you are also in a family which were naturally already into Swami's fold. So as your path was already laid, so you had rightly recognized Swami. He was blemishless. He knows the past, present, and future. He's all pervasive and everything. Very nice, sir. And Swami is a witness to everything you said. And even you are sharing your college days, your Brindavan and school days and college days. And gossiping. Now, that we all do. So now we should be, yeah, because now we should be careful because Swami is inside. He is able to be nothing we can hide from Swami. And regarding your fan episode during your MBA, and you were more concerned about Swami. Swami was feeling hot and all that. And Swami has read your mind and he has made you put that fan and all that. As you rightly said, sir, Brindavan maybe is a playground. As what we learned from Tribe Brindavan is a pet topic of all Swami students. Brindavan, they said, and Prasanthi Nilayam is office. Perhaps you would have touched on Kodaikanal. It's a vacation for Swami. They say Swami is always happy in Kodaikanal more than Brindavan and Prasanthi Nilayam. That robbery incident, Swami has warned us. Many times Swami warns us, but as a human being, we are not able to take the essence of it. So he has rightly warned you regarding that robbery incident, Sairam. The rash in the skin you were talking of. Ultimately, even you're told how it led to your further, Swami is able to diagnose and he was able to help you. Swami knows everything you said. And as you say, you had that feeling. Everyone all has the feeling whether Swami is ignoring you because you are a student and you are longing for an interview with Swami. You felt perhaps Swami was ignoring you because they say that Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moda, and all evil. That's only for man-made things. But with divine, you always long for. You can have Kama with God. You can have Moha for God, they said. And naturally, if you can always feel jealous, we also feel jealous of you because you have had so much of good experiences. So there's nothing wrong in being jealous or regarding God because everyone longs for God. Sir. That's a profound statement, sir. Time for everything. That's true. There's a time for everything. So whatever we may wish, anything, but Swami knows what is going to happen has to happen, and Swami, as I say, he knows everything. So nothing we cannot foresee. He will get what we deserve and what not we desire. Is the saying like that. Even at time we may think God is doing late for us, but in Swami's saying, deny there may be delay, but not denial. That is what you pointed out. He's an external witness. You said external witness to all our incidents. Really very nice, sir, and we are really thankful to on behalf of our Sathya Sai Seva Organization, Tamil Nadu West. We thank you for spending valuable time, even the question answers, because you have been in Swami's proximity, and as you say, we also long for it. But then proximity, there is also one more saying from other speakers. Proximity itself does not guarantee anything. So Swami says he is there everywhere. Physical proximity alone is not a matter of concern. Even then, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session. In fact, every day we have been longing for this session because it's so nice and we are always connected during this epidemic to know about Swami, and we are very happy through you. We are able to enrich our connection with Swami. It's all glory of Swami. I think I can wind up with Samasta with the universal prayer, sir. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।